Hello, I'm Achit Nair from Nair's Aviation Ground School. This is the 16th video in a new series of educational aviation videos for the aspiring pilot. The interaction between the wing and the air is one of the most important factors in flight. Even the position of the wing and the way the air hits the wing can dramatically affect the flying capability of the aircraft. This video is on the angle of attack. Angle of attack is a very important and useful concept. Most of the airplane's critical performance numbers are more closely related to the angle of attack than to anything else. The angle of attack determines whether the aircraft flies or falls out of the sky and affects every aspect of the flight, from takeoff to touchdown. The angle of attack is the angle at which the air hits the wing. The angle of attack determines the ability of the wing to generate lift, which is what allows the aircraft to fly. The lift is determined by the lift coefficient, and the lift coefficient is determined by the angle of attack of the wing. The lift coefficient of a fixed wing aircraft varies with the angle of attack. Increasing angle of attack is associated with increasing lift coefficient up to the maximum lift coefficient, after which the lift coefficient decreases. As the angle of attack of a fixed wing aircraft increases, separation of the airflow from the upper surface of the wing becomes more pronounced, leading to a reduction in the rate of the increase of the lift coefficient. One of the more important concepts when discussing the angle of attack is a critical angle of attack. The critical angle of attack is the angle of attack which produces the maximum lift coefficient. This is also called the stall angle of attack. Below the critical angle of attack, as the angle of attack increases, the lift coefficient increases. Conversely, above the critical angle of attack, as the angle of attack increases, the airflow begins to flow less smoothly over the upper surface of the airfoil and begins to separate from the upper surface. On most airfoil shapes, as the angle of attack increases, the upper surface separation point of the flow moves from the trailing edge towards the leading edge of the wing. At the critical angle of attack, upper surface flow is more separated and the airfoil or wing is producing its maximum lift coefficient. As the angle of attack increases further, the upper surface flow becomes more fully separated and the lift coefficient reduces further. Above this critical angle of attack, the aircraft is said to be in a stall. A fixed-wing aircraft, by definition, is stalled at or above the critical angle of attack rather than at or below a particular airspeed. The airspeed at which the angle stalls varies with the aircraft weight, the load factor, and the center of gravity of the aircraft. However, the aircraft always stalls at the same critical angle of attack. The critical or stalling angle of attack is typically around 15 to 20 degrees for many airfoils. Some aircraft are equipped with built-in flight computers that automatically prevents the aircraft from increasing the angle of attack any further when a maximum angle of attack is reached, regardless of the pilot's input. This is called the angle of attack limiter or alpha limiter. Modern airliners that have fly-by-wire technology avoid the critical angle of attack by means of software in the computer systems that govern the flight control surfaces. Sometimes, it is difficult to understand and identify the angle of attack of an aircraft at a specific point. It is difficult to directly perceive the angle of attack. Fortunately, there are three other quantities that can be perceived, and together they determine the angle of attack. They are the pitch attitude, which is defined to be the angle that the fuselage makes relative to the horizontal. The angle of climb, which is the angle between the flight path and the horizontal. The angle of incidence, which is the angle at which the wings are attached to the fuselage. When learning about flight, one might become confused between the different angles discussed during ground school. In addition to the angle of attack, there is also the pitch attitude or angle and the flight path angle or attitude. Flight path angle is the angle between the flight path vector and the horizon. The flight path angle is also the climb or descent angle. The pitch attitude, on the other hand, is the angle between the longitudinal axis of the airplane and the horizon. The pitch attitude is displayed on the attitude indicator or the artificial horizon by the aircraft symbol. The angle of attack is a concept not often discussed or understood by the general public, but it is extremely important to the student pilot to know and understand the effect of the angle of attack on flying. For more information, please contact us at liftanddrag@gmail.com and visit our website at niersaviation.webnode.com. Thank you, safe flying,